Welcome back, everybody. I'm Matt Williamson, and I am back up at the Peshtigo River here in northern Wisconsin. I come here at least once a year to relax a little bit, and I've been coming over with my boys for many years. And I typically like to bang out at least one video, and I usually do something lighter. And I had done my buddy Paul, who's a teacher out in the New York, New Jersey area, asked me a couple years ago. He said, "Hey, I'm doing something on the 60s," and he's a music teacher, and can you give me a song or two from each year that defines that era, that particular year? And I said, sure, and I did that. It was kind of a fun exercise. And I came across those notes I had just recently. I thought, well, I'm gonna do that for you guys. I'm gonna do a few songs from each year of the 60s that really is a year-defining song. Now, not having really grown up in the 60s, there are still songs that seem to, even after the fact, that seem to be able to define that year. And I'm just using my life's experience, the sum total of that, to come up with this list. So I'm gonna do 3 songs per year, and you can let me know what you think. So, I've got a list here. This is my first time I'm doing something without paper notes. I'm using my phone here, actually. And just so you know, Bogey's around here somewhere. Hey, Bogey, come here. This is his first time up here, and he is absolutely loving it. He's exploring everything. He'll probably come into frame here, but it's kind of sunny and warm over here. I got to be careful that I don't fall back into the river because the dock has been removed. Okay, so let's just get started here. We're going to start with 1960.
Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Only the lonely know the way I feel.
Okay, 1960, The Twist. Is there a song that was a more popular dance song in the second half of the 20th century than The Twist? I don't think so. That song by Chubby Checker, it entered the charts on a couple of occasions, like 60, maybe even 62, 63, and it kept coming back and kept charting, so it was extremely popular. And this list, I kind of focused on songs that weren't quite 50s sounding, I guess slightly more progressive, and that's just a direction that I took for this video. The second song I played was Only the Lonely by Roy Orbison. That's a guy that I grew up with. One of the very first singles I ever heard in my life was that song. So Orbison played pretty big in my growing up and my music education. And finally we have got Walk, Don't Run. The Ventures, new on the scene in 1960 with their instrumental rock music. Okay, let's go to 1961.
Just as long as you stand by me. And my mama told me you better shop around. My little runaway, run away.
So we start off with Benny King's Stand By Me. Now this song is a timeless classic. In fact, I wasn't sure of the year. I had to look it up, but I knew it was right in this period somewhere. And great song, been used in many movies. I'm sure it resonates with people who are from that time. And by the way, all of you people, most of you watching this, 70% of you, grew up through this time. So feel free to pick a year and put your 3 songs down in the comments below if you like. All right, after Stand By Me, we got Shop Around by the Miracles. Yeah, I'm a big Miracles fan, and that song, one of the first Motown hits, I think. And that really got Motown kicked off. And talk about the sound of the decade. Motown would be it. And finally, we've got Runaway by Del Shannon. This is a song that is probably the most 50s sounding song in this list. But just one of those songs that I just always hear. I think back to pre-Beatles. That's probably one of the better pre-Beatles rock songs that wasn't done by Elvis or some of the real rock gods. And that is Del Shannon. Well, here he is. I just got to keep an eye on my little guy here. Okay, let's go to 1962.
Sherry baby, Sherry baby,
All right, 1962. Another song that I grew up with was Sherry by the Four Seasons. So one of the hot groups pre-Beatles, and this was kind of the direction things were not going to go. A vocal group, East Coast, they were a Jersey group, sounds very East Coast, and they had a string of big hits with a very strange new sound by a singer that sang in a falsetto, male singer singing in a falsetto voice. I remember, hey Bogey, come here. I think you just saw a chipmunk. No, do not chase it. Come here. Hey, come back here. I've got a story for you about Sherry. My mother used to tell it. Her cousin, they were down in Chicago, I think, and Sherry came on the radio and her cousin screamed. You know how girls kind of got in those days when they were younger and a certain song came on. Well, that's I still remember that story. Okay, next song, Moon River by Henry Mancini. You know, that song, huge hit, multi-genre hit, you know, adult contemporary hit, pop chart hit. So that's just one of those movie songs from Breakfast at Tiffany's that was a huge hit. Finally, The Stripper, David Rose. Now that song, I didn't realize it was as late as 62, but you know, that whole sexual revolution of the 60s, this song kind of helped kick that off. The whole striptease thing, bringing it into the home, doing it for your husbands, the belly dancer. I've got how-to records from the 60s on that. I should review those at some point. Okay, we're going to go to 1963.
They say the girls are something else on Broadway. If everybody had an ocean across the USA.
How can you not have Louie Louie on this list? One of these songs, early rock songs, it was just a staple, a standard, it was done earlier by a couple groups, but never a big hit. But when the Kingsmen did it in 63, it was in about spring of 63, it took a while for it to pick up speed, and it picked up speed in small markets. And then by October 63, it was released nationally on a national label, on the Wand label. And it's interesting that it happened, this is just before Beatlemania. And, you know, nobody says that Louie Louie brought us out of the doldrums of the Kennedy assassination, do they? I guess that would have been right around the time, actually. Okay, we've got, this song on Broadway, The Drifters. Now, this is one of the great songs that, the problem with the Beatle era and the modern rock era is it kind of, in some ways, canceled out some of these great pre-Beatle songs. On Broadway is about as good as it gets, redone in the 70s by George Benson. That's the version I remember. But my dad always was a fan of the early one here. And then finally we had Surfin' USA, the Beach Boys. I mean, the Beach Boys, surf music kind of took over. It was kind of a fad. Even if you lived nowhere near water, it became a thing.
Walk on by, walk on by.
I'm telling you from the start, I can't be torn apart from my God.
Okay, we are in 1964, the modern rock era, as I kind of refer to it occasionally. We've got, of course, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I mean, there was nothing really bigger in pop music in the second half of the 20th century than the Beatles. That song is a song that really blew them open worldwide, and I don't need to say too much about that one. Now the next song, Walk On By, you couldn't get a more different song. That came out just about 2 months after I Want to Hold Your Hand, Bacharach and David, sung by Dionne Warwick. Great, it sounded mature beyond its years. Probably because Bacharach and David were a little older. I think they were in the 30s by this time, later 30s perhaps. And it just looked, it sounds to me, even though I think back and didn't live through that time, that was a modern sounding song. Okay, then we've got My Guy, Mary Wells, another Motown song written by Smokey Robinson. This is the period where I can envision people dancing at the school dance, slow dance to songs like this. A couple more of those are coming up.
You know that love and feeling. Feel this way.
We are in 65, so we're going to start off with Satisfaction by the Stones, one of the great singles in the rock period of all time. That really signified, along with I Want to Hold Your Hand, I think the new rock direction. It took the Stones to really drive it home, I think, with a more gritty, more uncouth delivery. Great song, great lyric. Next song, we've got You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, one of the most played songs of all time. The Righteous Brothers, that song, another dance floor, smoochy kind of song. And then finally we got My Girl by the Temptations, kind of the answer to My Guy. Both written around the same time, I believe, but the Temptations do their classic.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray. I was feeling cherishes the
1966, I start off with California Dreamin'. Now this whole folk rock thing was a real thing and a necessary thing. And some of the great music of the decade came out by blending essentially folk and rock. It's been said a million times, but California Dreamin' kind of builds on that Beach Boy dream of going out where it's sunny in Southern Cal, where the temperature is always like perfect. Something I'm not used to here in the Midwest. Well, on days like this, we're pretty close, although it's a little humid today. Next song, Good Lovin' by the Rascals, another high power, energy dance number that got people on the floor. The type of song that, dancing in those days, it's kind of interesting. I remember thinking about the idea of the dance floor, how you could hold a woman close to you within a slow dance that you barely know and kind of have a discussion on the dance floor, and it's completely normal. Those days were still going on then. And then finally, maybe one of the ultimate dance floor slow songs, Cherish by The Association. That song, for me, I'm a big fan of The Association. So that song, it probably epitomizes the dance floor slow song during that mid-60s period. Okay, let's go to 1967.
I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life.
So we're going to start with I'm a Believer, the Monkees. Now this was a new phenomenon, derivative of the Beatles, of course, but it just goes to show you how the right song, the right energy, and the right faces can make a timeless song. And that's essentially what the Monkees were in a nutshell. And written by Neil Diamond, I'm a Believer, even the message is uplifting and it's buoyant, it brings you to a higher level. And 60s music still does that. It does get darker and introspective, but we never lose that fun part of the music in the 60s. Speaking of which, we've got Happy Together. So that song, another one that just makes me feel good after I hear it. Just a joyous song, and really makes me, if you look at the number one hits of 1967, they kind of have that Happy Together element. And finally, the only band that's on here twice, The Association with Never My Love. That's just another song that's a timeless classic. I think that, along with You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, were the two most played songs ever on FM radio, or on just radio in general. So Never My Love is just, it does take me back to that time, or what I imagine that time to have been. On to 1968.
For the county.
All right, we're going to start with Mrs. Robinson. Now, this was another 45 I had as a kid, and Simon and Garfunkel were still huge in the 70s. My folks had the greatest hits on 8-track tape, so I grew up listening to that quite a bit. And obviously, Mrs. Robinson was one of the great hits from the movie The Graduate, which was also a monster hit. So how can you not include that song on here? The other one I have on here that really doesn't get played in the same way, was never in the classic rock playlist, was Love is Blue by Paul Muriat, the instrumental. Beautiful song. It is basically, to me, when I hear it now, a period piece. So it always takes me back to that period. And we are in a period now where I was on the face of the earth in 1968. And the next song, one of my favorite all-time songs probably, one of the songs I would categorize as a perfect song, Wichita Lineman, Glenn Campbell. And this was one of my very first 45s, and I never tire of listening to this song, written by Jimmy Webb, of course. It's got a great little history to it. Most of the great songs are usually written quickly, they come quickly, and this is another one of them. Let's go into 1969, the last year.
Rolling, rolling, rolling on a river. I am everyday people.
All right, so 69, there was this idea of already understanding that the 60s was kind of some time of reckoning. And the music started to reflect this. And the first song I have on here is Age of Aquarius. And if you listen to the lyrics, you'll know exactly what I mean. And you had other songs like Ball of Confusion and In the Year 2525, things like that during this period. But Age of Aquarius really gives you that, I guess, what you'd call the postmodern understanding of where things were going. Next song, Proud Mary by CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. This song, in the 70s anyway, into the early 80s, every wedding band played this. I mean, you couldn't go to a wedding with a band that didn't play this song. But that's how the song was alive for me into the 80s, was because of weddings. So for whatever reason, people, I think, got on the dance floor for this song too. It's just one of those songs, easy to play, easy to sing, easy to dance to, fun song. And finally, I'm leaving off with Sly and the Family Stone, Everyday People. And like I said about Age of Aquarius, you had all this kind of political stuff starting to enter the mainstream. Like it or not, it was reflecting what was going on. And some songs reflected better than others. This is one of the greats. I mean, Everyday People, it's about as happy of a protest song as there is. Is it even a protest song? Probably not. It's just an observation of we're all basically equal. It's stating maybe what should be the obvious. And that was a song that's one 45 I did not have growing up, but that's a song that I would hear. And when I hear it, that reminds me of the Woodstock Nation. So that's 30 songs from the 60s. I got to show you my hat here that's on the ground. This is my John Denver hat. This is now mine. This was I bought this for Heather. She was a John Denver fan, and I thought this was a really cool cap. So I'm, whoopsie, sorry, buddy. Bring it up here and could really use it on a day like today. So more is to come. I'm working on another band video, which is almost done. When I get back to Civilization, I will be putting that together, and you're going to see some more band histories the second half of 2025. And I've got several things in the works, and I'm going to be very happy to bring those to you and cross those off my very long list. So see you back here soon on Pop Goes the 60s.